Hello everyone. Now earlier in the earlier discourse we were talking about the importance and the significance of the service marketing or the services. Now in the same continuation, in today's discussion we will be dealing with the same continuation and we will be moving out our discussion towards the offerings or towards the aspect of whatever offerings that the marketers are trying to dispose and they are trying to create is with regard to the creation of the impact on the society at large. We know that every marketer or the firm, in the way they are trying to create the strategies, they are trying to develop out their philosophies, the procedural plans that they are trying to draft out, they are creating and they are making out their plans and the figures and the policies in such a way that they are meeting up to the expectations of the consumers and to the customers at large. Now it is a duty of a marketer that they are not being able to gratify the needs and the wants of their target audience, but apart from gratifying the needs and the wants of their target audience, they should be able to create a benefit or they should be able to mobilize out their offerings in such a way that their benefits are being expected and they are being assimilated by the society at large at a greater extent. So the social impact, that is what being written in the slide, that the social impact, it talks about that the offerings are basically they are in such a nature that they are trying to create an essential services, they are in such a form that they are in the form of the community development services and they are definitely improving the lifestyle of the people of the society. So earlier also in our first discussion we have said that the services are maybe in the form of the rented services, the services may be in the form of the non-good services, the services which may be in the form of the services that are pure in nature. So the government is also creating and they are making out their efforts in the form of deliverance of the offerings to improve out the benefits or to create out the benefits to the society at large in the form of disposition of the municipal services, in the form of development of the infrastructural facilities, in the form of establishment of the schools, hospitals, the charitable institutions by the government at large. And because of these creation of the schools, hospitals and the establishments of the NGOs, the government at large, they are trying to create a environment in which the social security schemes are being floated and they are of such a nature in which the benefit is being assimilated by the society at large. So the social impact, it is all about being related with not only the meeting of the expectations of and meeting of the aspirations and the psychological temperaments of the target audience, but it is also being related with defining and with improving the quality of the people who are the residents of the society. So whatever offerings as in a marketer, as in a provider of the service provider, we are trying to dispose, we are trying to create, we are trying to explore, should be of such a nature that they are trying to improve the status symbol, the status and it should be of such a nature in which the target audience and the society are able to enhance out their living standard. Now the next topic, it is being related and the next point, it is being related with the future trend. The importance of the service marketing may also be discussed with regard to the future perspective, and we knew under that every marketer, every manager, whatever efforts that they are trying to create, it is basically being made in alignment with the future. Because we as a manager, we are trying to foresee the future, we as a manager, we are trying to foresee the future and we are trying to develop and to create out our strategies in such a way that our uncertain environment, the risk and the uncertainties that are prevailing in the uncertain environment can be minimized to a greater extent. So as a manager working in any of the functional area, we should be able to foresee and to proact, we should be able to predict out the different kind of challenges, the different kind of uncertainties that are available and that are revolving in this competitive scenario in such a way that we are able to quantify and to judge out the magnitude of the risk and the uncertainties that are there available in the market area. Now this is very much being important enough for any marketer working in any of the functional area to predict and to foresee the different kind of challenges that are operating in the form of the risk and the uncertainties. Now why that is very much being needed? Because we know that because of this particular kind of proactiveness, because of this agility and the versatility, the marketers will be able to draft out their strategies in the form of the 7 P's, especially we are limiting our discussion towards the service marketers. So, the marketers here who are being authorized, who are being supposed to develop out their strategies in the form of the 7 P's should be of such a nature wherein they are able to adapt their strategies in consonance with the moving kind of challenges, with the moving kind of variables that are hovering in this competitive scenario, in alignment with meeting out the expectations of the society and with the meeting out the expectations of the consumers at large. So, for future tense, it is being related with the growth of the digital services, the focusing on the customer's experience, importance of the innovation. Definitely all our efforts are being developed, they are being created in the form of the deployment of certain kind of technological devices also. We are not only limiting out our plans and the development of our procedural methodologies in such a way that we are limiting out our things within a concrete brick and mortar store, but as a versatile and as an agile marketer, as a versatile service provider, we should be able to comprehend and should be able to channelize out our strategies in such a way that we are trying to develop and we are trying to deploy out the latest use of the advanced technological gadgets also. Then only we will be able to create out certain new kind of thing, because we know that even if we are channelizing out our things in a manual mode, maybe having out certain kind of limit to talk of, and that particular kind of shortcoming, that particular kind of limit or that particular kind of shortcoming can be removed by the uses of the advanced tools and the techniques which are in the form of the latest technological developments. Either we are talking in terms of the deployment of the ERP, either we are talking in terms of the deployment and the use of the cloud computing or the robotics or the use of the artificial intelligence. All these kind of technological devices are helping us out for a business organization, for a service provider to create certain new kind of thing, and that newness is giving you an added advantage to create and to deploy a unique selling proposition as against the offerings which the competitors are trying to dispose of in the market area. Now, it is very much being indispensable for the firm to create and to come out within a new kind of thing, because every customer and every target audience, they want to have the disposition and they want to have the assimilation of that particular kind of newness, because they have their limited resources in the form of the commitment of their limited resources in the form of the sacrifices that they are going in for, that they are foregoing in the form of the prices that they are paying to use that services. So, every customer, it is very much being needed enough that every consumer and the customer, they are having under the notion to get out certain new kind of thing which are giving them an added advantage as compared to the other offerings that they are available in the market area. So, as a marketer, if you are being able to foresee and to forecast that particular kind of temperament and the aspirations which the customers and the consumers are holding out in their mind, so you will be able to draft out your offerings in such a way that their temperament and the aspirations and the psychological attributes that they are holding out in their personality can be met out to a greater extent. Now, this is all about the importance and the significance of the service marketing. We will be moving out our discussion towards the next point, and the next topic, it is all being related with how the service marketing came into existence with regard to the evolution, the development of the service marketing. Now, here it is being written in the slide, we can have a look that the development and the genesis of the service marketing, it is being classified in the different kind of eras. The first era, it is being related wherein we can see that the development is all being talked of in the era of 1950s and the 1960s, and here it says the fact that the service marketing roots lie in the mid of the 20th century. Business began knowing the unique aspects of the offering intangible services. Now, this particular point or this particular slide may also be talked of in the sense of understanding the genesis of our service marketing in the concept of the industrialization wave. We know that the waves of the industrialization or the waves of the economic thought, it may be classified into three kind of forms. Either we can have a pre-industrialization, either we can have an industrialization, and in the last form we can have an concept to discuss of with regard to the post-industrialization era. So, it can also be discussed in the same way. We know that in the pre-industrialization era, there was a point of time wherein our economic activity was basically being limited towards the extraction of the natural commodities, which was basically being related in the form of the mining, the fishing and the farming that was being developed and that was being created by the human for the purpose of meeting out their basic existence. So, in the era of the pre-industrialization, as already we know that it may also be referred to an era wherein the era of agrarian economy can be discussed upon. The features of an agrarian economy can be discussed upon, because here at that particular point of time, the human survival, the human existence was very much being needed enough. So, they were trying to carry out their activities in such a way that the extraction and the basic kind of method was being done, and that was being related within a natural way. The natural form of extraction and the imposition was being done by the people who were surviving at that particular point of time in the era of agrarian economy, in the era of the pre-industrialization economy, and they were trying to carry out their livelihood in the form of the extraction, in the form of getting themselves being engaged in the form of the carrying out their activities in the form of the mining, in the form of the agricultural aspect, in the form of the rearing of the animals, cattle, for the purpose of meting out their human existence and the survival. Now, in the era of 1970s and 1980s, it is being written in the slide that the service marketing, it emerged as a distinct field during this period, and the main focus was the understanding of the wide nature of the services. Now, here we can say that this particular slide, this is being related, and it is talking of with regard to the different eras, and the 1950s and the 1960s, that is being written in the slide that it lies in the mid of the 20th century, when the business and the business entity, they were being realizing out that the concept that there should be a unique aspect towards offering out, that intangible aspect should be there. Whatever goods and offerings that they are trying to dispose on the market area, that is also having out a component of the uniqueness. So, in the era of the 1960s, the marketers and the business firm, they have realized out the concept that with the disposition of the physical commodities, there is a certain kind of uniqueness, there is a certain kind of abstractness and a certain kind of intangibility factor that is being related within a physical commodity, and that has to be used, that has to be accentuated, that has to be assimilated by the target audience. Then in that particular situation, the target audience will be having out a feel to understand that they are getting something new, they are getting something in addition to the consumption of the physical commodities that they are consuming in the marketplace. Now, in the era of 1970s and the 80s, it's being written that the service marketing emerged in a distinct field during this period, and the main focus was the understanding the wide nature of the service. In the era of 1980s, it was already being talked of that in the era of 1980s, the marketers and the service providers, they were having another notion that they have realized out the concept of the uniqueness of the offerings that they are already creating in the market area, that they are creating and they are delivering in the market area. So, in the era of 1980s, they have realized that there should be a concept wherein the divergent views and the divergent kind of aspects of this intangibility kind of offering should be talked of, and they have worked upon in this particular era. Now, in the next era, in the era of 1990s and the 2000, it was being seen that the technologies rise and do impact on service marketing as well. The companies embraced with internet and allowing them to deliver personalized experience. Now, in the era of 1990s and 2000, it was being seen that, and it was being realized by the marketers and the service providers, that here the use of the technological gadgets is very much being needed enough, and it is very much being imperative, because the customers are becoming price sensitive, they are more much being aware, they are more much being aware in terms of satisfying, in terms of consuming out the things in a different kind of way. They are not very much being willing enough towards the consumption of the commodities and towards the consumption of the offerings in a very old kind of fashion, in an old fashioned kind of way. So, it is a very challenging era for the marketers, especially for the service marketers, because the service marketers are dealing out within a uniqueness that are basically intangible in nature. They are dealing out within a certain kind of abstractness. They are dealing out with certain kind of deeds and the efforts. So here it was very much being challenging enough for the service firms to deal out and to understand and to just create out that particular kind of uniqueness which are very much aligned with the meeting, which are very much being aligned with meeting out the expectations and the aspirations of the consumers which in that at that particular point of time. So the service marketers, they have realized that there should be the use of the advanced tools and techniques, there should be a use of the technological gadgets for the purpose of personalizing out the services to the customers, for the purpose of giving them a personalized services to the customers, because we know that earlier also we have discussed that the services cannot be standardized. So the personalization and the customization was the need of the hour, and here the marketers have realized this concept that there should be a concept wherein the personalization should be given out to the target audience. Now in today's world, it's being written that in this current scenario, in this current era, we as a marketers, we as a modern service provider, we are prioritizing out our customers. We are defining out our strategies in such a way that we are anticipating, we are meeting out the evolving needs of the customers. And yes, this is a very important point to talk of, that in today's competitive scenario, we are living in this competitive scenario wherein at each and every point of time, whatever strategies and the procedural plans that we are defining and we are trying to craft out in terms of the 7 Ps by the service marketers, they are definitely and they are being counteracted by their competitors. So as an agile and a versatile firm, we should be able to sense out the different kind of needs which the target audience are trying to channelize in the market area in terms of making and shipping out our product in such a way that their hidden needs are being gratified to a greater extent. And our offerings are having out a capability which is creating out a unique selling proposition in our way, and that particular uniqueness are also being realized, and they are being understood by the service provider, and they are also being understood and they are also being realized by the target audience. Then only they will be able to assimilate that particular kind of uniqueness which the service provider are trying to offer in the market area. So the modern marketing concept, or the modern marketing service provider, the modern service provider, the modern service firms, they have realized the concept of creating the uniqueness. They have realized the concept of offering the subvariants of the same kind of offer, because we know that every product, it comes within a unique kind of element. Now that particular unique element is not the only kind of thing that we can realize. The same core offering, the same benefit is also being shaped out by the different kind of labels which are basically intangible in nature. So we are getting out the benefit which is core in nature. Along with the association of the core benefit, we are having certain kind of expectations to talk of. We are having certain kind of generic benefits that are basically being associated with the core benefits. After the association, we are having certain kind of expectation kind of benefits which the customers are trying to enjoy with the consumption of that particular core offering. And after the expectations, we are also having certain kind of offering that are abstract and that is being related in a future course of action, that is in the form of the potential benefits. So as a marketer, it's not only the case wherein that we are only limiting our discourse with the flotation of the core element of the product that we are trying to deal in the market area. It's not the case, but as a marketer, we are also being supposed to deal and to modify and to improvise the different kind of levels of the core offering that we are trying to dispose of in the market area, and which are in the form of the generic, the expected and the potential benefits that we are trying to dispose in the market area for the target audience for the purpose of gratifying out their needs and the wants. So this is all about the development of the service marketing. Now this particular development was being talked of in the sense of the different eras. Earlier also I have tried to limit out my discussion in terms of the defining this genesis of the service marketing in terms of the different kind of waves of the economic thoughts. So if you are discussing the different kind of waves of the economic thought we can have in a pre-industrialization society, we can have in an industrialization society, we can have in a post-industrialization society. So, pre-industrialization society, I have already talked of the fact that here the marketers, and here the not only the marketers, here the consumers, here the customers who were residing in the society, they were carrying out their activities in such a way that their basic human existence and their basic subsistence, their basic existence was being met in the form of getting themselves related in the form of the extraction, getting themselves related in the form of the carrying out their activities in the form of the mining, in the form of the farming and other cattle rearing and the poultry farming. Now, the industrialization wave, which was being talked about in a second wave, it is being related with the fact that here the production was being done on the mass level, certain kind of division of labor was being talked of, the features of the division of the labor, the features of the task specialization was being talked of, because we know that the era of industrialization, it is being related within a mass production. So, whatever production, whatever activities that we are trying to channelize in the form of disposition and the form of the procurement of the inputs, creating value and disposing of that value in the form of the resultant output for the purpose of gratifying the needs of the wants of the customers and the society at large, was being done at a mass level. So, the mass production was being done, and if the mass production is being done, definitely it means that we are optimizing out the resources, we are getting the economies of the scale. So, this is being talked of as in a second era, which is contributing towards the development of the services marketing, the concept of the services marketing. Now, in the last phase that we are experiencing, that is the phase of the current scenario that we have talked. And in the current scenario, we are experiencing that we are existing and we are surviving in the world of the post-industrialization. So, post-industrialization is all being related with an era and within a situation in which we are existing right now, and we are existing in the concept of meeting out our needs, not only with the consumption of the physical product, not only with the consumption of the physical commodities, but yes, with the consumption of every physical commodity, there lies certain kind of abstractness which we are assimilating, which we are experiencing, which we are consuming, and that particular abstractness and that particular kind of intangible benefits that we are using, it is all being related with accentuating the consumption of the physical commodity. Because in the post-industrialization area or in the services sector, that is what is being talked of as in a development of the service sector in the era of the after 2000 that we are experiencing, and we are living in the era of after the 2000 that we are experiencing the current scenario. It only talks about the fact that as in a marketer, we are evolving in a concept wherein the uniqueness concept should be created, wherein the concept of the uniqueness should be talked of, and that uniqueness should be associated with the purchase and with the consumption of every physical commodity which the customers are trying to undergo in the market scenario. Because in the earlier course, whatever things and whatever commodities that were being channelized by the marketers, they were in the form of the production of the mass level. They were in the form of the producing, and they were in the form of the producing out the commodities at a substantial level. So, at that earlier course of action, in the earlier days or in the olden days, the customers were not having any kind of convenience, they were not having any kind of option, they were not having any kind of alternatives to talk of, because whatever things that were being offered by the marketers at that particular point of time, it was in a situation wherein the customers and the consumers were not having any kind of option and alternatives to go in for, and whatever things and the offerings that were being provided by the marketer in the earlier days, in the olden days, they will have to be assimilated, they have to be absorbed by the customers. That was in the era of the production. And after production, it came the customer era, it came the consumer era, the customer era, and the marketing research era, and the after that we are experiencing the holistic marketing concept. So, that it's also being, we may also limit out our discussion, or we may also modify our discussion in the form of the holistic marketing concept, which only says out the fact that here as a modern marketing service provider, we have to prioritize out our customer, we have to keep out our customers at a pivotal role. We have to say that the customer is the kingpin, and all our efforts, all our strategies should be modified according to the needs and the wants of those our target audience over whom we want to cater out our efforts in the form of the mobilization of our scarce resources. So, this was all about the development of the marketing concept. Moving on with the concept of service marketing, we have already discussed this concept, and here this slide speaks of the fact that the concept of the service marketing or what is in a basic crux which the service marketing concept deals upon. So, definitely the very first point, it says the fact that here the focus is on the customer experience, and here the service marketing prioritizes the delivering of the positive and the memorable experience to the customer. Whatever strategies that we are trying to define the market area, definitely our strategies are evolving in the form of taking out in the form of keeping your customers, keeping your consumers as in a kingpin. So, our strategies are evolving, they are being deploying, they are being drafted, they are being crafted in such a way that the customers are occupying as in a kingpin role. And the next point, it says that we have to develop out a relationship should be credible enough, and developing and building long-term relation within a it plays in a very crucial factor for the customers, because here the trust and the loyalty, they are the very important factors which are being taken into consideration by every service provider or by every business organization. We know that every business organization, they are trying to mobilize out the scarce economic resources of the society, and by in terms of mobilizing and utilizing out the scarce resources, they are creating out in a value, and that value is of such a nature that particular value is creating a uniqueness in the mind of the target audience, and because of that particular uniqueness, they are going in for the moving in for the purchase decision, or they are assimilating out that particular uniqueness in the form of the abstractness that they are sensing of. So, building up a relationship that should be trustworthy, that should be credible, that should be good enough. It is very imperative for any marketer to talk of or to think over it, because we know that the marketer or every manager or every business organization or every entity should think over it, wherein they have to take an idea that the relation should be of good, should be of good one, should be of loyal one, should be of such a nature wherein they are able to retain their customers for a longer period of time. That retention is very much being needed, because we know that we as an effective service provider, as an effective service firm, we should not be able to expand out our customer database, we should not be able to enlarge and expand out our customer footfalls, but we should be having out that kind of thinking in which our strategies should be of such a nature that they are we as a marketer, we are being able to create a healthy and a commitment and a committing kind of relationship with our customers, so that the customers are having and retention, or they are creating a retention to make out the purchase decision again and again with your shop, or by committing or limiting out their purchase decision by visiting to your shop or to your establishment only. So, with this I am ending up here, that is the concept of the service marketing being talked of in the form of the different kind of situations, being talked of in the sense of the different kind of perspectives. I am ending up my discussion here only. Hope you are enjoying my lecture, and we will be meeting out in the same discourse in our next module. So, thank you for all. See you. Goodbye.